a very great institute, uh, like my mother institute. If you say that who has brought you up to the level of PhD, this is the institute. They are saying that's not enough. PhD is not enough. Still, you have to do further, right? So, if I had been in the government services, that wouldn't have been possible. Now, let's go into uh, a little bit of our this thing. As soon as you see this man, you see him remembering manipulating those days, even in KK Nagar. Uh, I am really sorry that he's not with us before we learned all his secrets from him. At least Vijay Kumar sir from Mellur, who was famous for his electrotherapy, had a diary, and he used to write in the red color diary everything about electrotherapy, and he handed it over to his son. So now his son is having the diary. But he had everything in his mind. There are a lot of things which are not being still being revealed. Unrevealed secrets of Sir is still pending. So central and peripheral key points. He was very clear, powerful in that. He was very powerful in manipulation of the shoulder, especially quadrant manipulation, and he was very beautiful in analyzing patient. Uh, Whenever there is a case discussion or case presentation, uh, nobody can do a case discussion or case presentation like him, because he sees what is negative in the patient. We all see what is positive in the patient or what is positive in the student. We see what the student knows, whereas he see what the student does not know. That is how he was so famous about this thing. I if there is a chance of somebody being born like him, right? Still, I would be junior to him, because that's the great thing, right? Yeah. Having trying to ask questions, finding out negative things, and trying to find out that's very important thing, right? So I can never find negative from a person. I can only find positive from a person. Very heartfelt condolences to him for starting your lectures with your permission, sir. Clinical decision making and clinical reasoning are often intercompared and intertwined. Clinical decision making means we are coming to an end point. We are coming that this is the target issue. Okay. Whereas clinical reasoning means I am telling this is the target issue because there is a question mark, because that is, both are same. So don't get confused. Don't get worried. We'll be interminglingly using clinical reasoning and clinical making. Uh, Clinical reasoning, see, now itself it is staged. It decreases misdirections, misbeliefs, increases thinking, safety of the patient, less clinical reasoning, more technical. If we are very having less clinical reasoning, we become more technical. Uh, Sometimes that also wins. We have to know when we have to be technical.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Extremely sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the PowerPoint is not visible to others, many of them. Can you go to the PowerPoint and reshare it, sir, once again? Sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yes. No problem.
Sorry, sir.
Now, Amal,
Sir, it's visible. It's visible, sir.
for everyone.
I guess so, sir. There's a comment in the box, so I think it's visible to everybody, sir. Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Okay. So, uh, I am 1985. 88 batch. Finished my internship in January 2nd, 1989. 89. So during the period of 1980s, we used to be having case sheet being referred from the doctors, and we used to just record the case sheet. From the case sheet, we used to record the whatever the diagnosis that is being made. We used to check for general and local contraindications. Few more things. Of course, I was under Srinivasu sir, so I learned a lot. Other than what is exactly. I was under SRA sir. I was under Chinamal staff, and um, all those persons are very different from the normal way of teachers. Exorbitant teaching from Chinamal staff. I should be thankful at them about the paraplegia experience she had in the GH. She used to share us with me and Murugavel in walking school. Of course, Srinivasu sir in exercise therapy section. And Srinivasan sir was also in exercise therapy section. So they used to ask me a lot of questions. Prasad sir, he was my senior only, but he was an intern only, but left and right in a question paper. And all of day. So immediately I used to go out to the British Council that day and I had to get the answer the next day. I don't know the reason. He used to go directly to madam's room and tell what is the answer. It used to happen like that. So, but I learned a lot of things from Prasad, still I remember. So, those days are not different, very different. And the day one we started learning from patient. That is how a physiotherapy school should be. It should not be having something different like in Australia, where they learn at one place, see patient at different hospital. Not like that. We learn right from the day one with patient. That's how a school should be. A physiotherapy college should be. So the second phase, when we came to 1990s, what happened was slowly we started changing from ruling out contraindications. We started assessing the patient for listing down the problems. So problem solving method started in nutrition, in diet, in all the psychological aspect, in all fields of medicine, physiotherapy also. So when there is a fever, they give paracetamol, symptomatic relief. Like that, we started trying to assess and list down the problems. So we started doing problem solving or problem listing assessment method, and we did this problem listing method in order to list down the problems. Like if there is pain, we will to treat the pain. If there is pain, range of stiffness, we used to treat with range of motion, passive or active. If there is a neurological deficit, we used to handle it accordingly. So this is what we did in 90s. But in 90s, there was a lot of thinking, right? And if there is a neurological deficit, or if there is going to be a stiffness, or if there is a pain, what is the cause of the pain? Somebody started thinking about that particular thinking. What is the structure that is irritating and causing that pain? So when they started thinking about that, then they started developing a model that is was called as clinical reasoning model by Mark Jones and Higgs. Mark Jones and Higgs, they are professors from University of South Australia. They were the first persons to write down about clinical decision making, the first book. And we were more privileged to have do a congregation course under them. So it was a beautiful course. While I'm taking about the further class, I'll tell you what are the questions they asked me, right? I was a student of the course, congregation course. So they came to 1999, they came to Ramachandra and they made a congregation course. So in their model, what they do is the students have to go in for something called as hypothetical-deductive reasoning. In the beginning, they form that if the patient comes with shoulder, there will be a lot of problems which are causing pain in the shoulder. So from a big circle, they have to go to a single point. Reducing one by one by reasoning, by assessment, they reduce one by one and they have to find out what is the structure. As they keep on doing for 1,000 times, 2,000 times, they get a pattern and they get an intuition, right? So immediately they are when the patient comes with this kind of a pattern, they go in for a clinical decision saying that this structure is involved. So pattern recognition method was the second one. And then third one was knowledge reason integration. It's nothing but the integration of hypothetical detection, pattern recognition made them more eligible to find what was the structure very easily. When I got the best Mulligan's workshop award, I have to tell the truth. I never believed in the practice of Mulligan. I learned all the 10 days workshop. I never practiced Mulligan, but I would like the way he did on the stage. How did he demonstrate? Was something knowledge, reasoning, integration. He took a patient and he asked, what is the problem? She said she is not able to pronate. She said she is not able to pronate. Something to do with inferior or superior humero. I mean, what do you call it? Radioulnar joints and the superior radioulnar joint. So what he did was he just caught one of the joints and he started asking the girl to rotate it. There was no pain. And he said, keep doing this for 3 days. And then try to do with normally, pain will vanish away. So he did not do the whole way of assessment as we did, subjective, objective, etc., etc. Straight away he touched the superior radioulnar joint, flinched it. He did not allow her to rotate, do it. So this is what is knowledge, reasoning, integration. It comes out of experience, right? Many of us have this kind of view. So usually what we do is we'll just take this hypothetical deductive reasoning and we'll go into the hypothetical deductive reasoning as an example, and that will tell you how you will evolve into pattern and knowledge integration later on. So usually we do this profiling. This is took this profile from ordinary Google search. I do not know. There's no copyright issue. I do not know whose is it. We just take this like this profile. I think Dhanabadi has stopped somewhere here with the body chart, right? So this body chart is very important. Say, for example, if the patient says that he's having the pain in this particular area, am I able to mark? You can see that yellow mark. Can you see the yellow mark?
Yes, Venkatesh, you can see.
Yeah. If the patient says very specifically, I'm having pain in this particular area. In the area, எனக்கு pain இருக்கு அப்படின்னா இந்த ஏரியால என்னென்ன ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் இருக்கு? Now I'll come back. I will remove this. Okay. Once again, I will do very specific. In the area, if there is a pain. Now, what are the structures that are there in this area? What are the structures you think that there is there in this area? In the anterior. Nine 99% of the students nowadays say anterior capsule. சொல்லுவாங்க ஒரு ஆன்சர். பட் அதோட 2-3 ஐட்டம் இருக்கு. There is supraspinatus, there is bicipital tendon, there is what you call acromioclavicular joint. So you have acromioclavicular joint, supraspinal tendinitis, bicipital tendinitis, and also you have the anterior capsule tightness. Usually the anterior capsule tightness is common because always we have a curved posture. We don't have a braced shoulder always, like army men. You always keep it crouched, right? So நம்ம இந்த ஏரியா அப்படின்னு பாடி சார்ட்ல மார்க் பண்ண உடனே நம்ம முன்னாடி கிளினிக்கல் ரீசனிங்ல நம்ம ஹைபாத்தட்டிக்கோ டிடக்டிவ் ரீசனிங் போனோம் இல்லையா? So what you should do is what you should do is immediately you should detect all the things. So you must deduct everything out of the picture. நீங்க எல்லாத்தையும் மறந்துட்டு இந்த நாக்கு மட்டும் மனசுல நினைச்சுக்கணும். That is, you must think about acromioclavicular, anterior capsule, and bicipital tendinitis, supraspinal tendinitis. Test for this 4, and you go in for what do you call it as target tissue finding. அதுக்கு தான் இந்த body chart is giving you a very important message. Second important message the body chart is giving you is, it is you will mark sometimes, you will mark with the help of this thing. You might have some other problem, like you might have a heart problem. So you give just an indication. So it's not working. So he's having a heart point, he's having a heart pain, he's a cardiac patient. So இங்க ஒரு மார்க்கிங் ரெட்ல மார்க் பண்ணுவீங்க, ரெட் ஆஸ்ட்ரிக்ஸ். அப்புறம் இஸ் ஹேவிங் கிட்னி ட்ரபிள், இங்க ஒரு ரெட் ஆஸ்ட்ரிக்ஸ். கையில பார்த்தா கிளப்பிங் அதெல்லாம் இருக்கு, அது ரெட் ஆஸ்ட்ரிக்ஸ். ஸோ வாட் எவர் யூ ஃபைண்ட் இட் அஸ் ரெட் ஃபிளாக்ஸ், யூ ஃபைண்ட் இட் mark it here in the body chart as red asterisks, and whatever you find it as a pain marking area, to mark it in a different color. Now when we come to red flag, it is very important that there are 3 types of flags: yellow flag, red flag, green flag. What is yellow flag? Yellow flag means it is vulnerable patients, pregnant patient above 65 years old. All these patients are called as vulnerable patients. Patient who has not got proper coordination, patient who has got frequent falls, they are all called as vulnerable patients. So vulnerable patients will be marked with yellow. So நீங்க என்ன பண்ணணும், உடனே ஒரு yellow highlighter எடுத்து நீங்க வந்து ஜஸ்ட் இங்க மார்க் பண்ணி, so you know that it is a yellow patient. You need not tell that patient, you can just mark it and you will know definitely it is a state. Is a patient with a heart patient or something like that. Then you can you have to mark what is yellow means vulnerable. What is green? Eligible for treatment. Green clear or subtleness. All patients are not eligible for treatment. Those who are having psychological problems, right? Please find out 90% of our patients have psychological problems, right? That is why they are coming for pain therapy, right? So they are they do not know what to do, so they tell that they have pain and they come to physiotherapy department. So there are a lot of patients who comes because of psychological symptoms and they want something like massage. In a massage அடிமையானவங்க நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. So those patients also will try to come to you and they try to get a massage, ultrasonic massage or something like that. இது வந்து I'm not telling as a நீங்க நினைப்பீங்க வெங்கடேஷ் போய் இப்படி சொல்றாரு, எவ்வளவு பேஷண்ட் மசாஜ் அடிமையானவங்க இருக்காங்க, அதுக்கு அடிமையானவங்க. So those patients will tend to come repeatedly for physiotherapy sessions. எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் காலை லீவ் விடுங்க, கொஞ்சம் காலில் பெயின் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் போட்டு வேலை வாங்க. So there's a green flag, there is also a red flag. What is red flag? Red flag is Vim CD DAS. Vimna என்ன? Vim soap இருக்கு இல்லையா, அதை ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. CD DAS. Vim is for vascular. Somebody, if you have paper, you can write down. Kamal Mohan, if you have a bit of paper, you write down. At the end of the this thing, we will show them. I did not write it on this part.
Sure, sir. Sure.
It is vascular,
Sure, sir.
Inflammatory malignancy. Vascular inflammatory malignancy. Vim, congenital and deformities. Right? Never you try to be very aggressive on deformities. That is very important. And then the other one is DAS is drug-induced, autonomic, that is systemic, autonomic and systemic diseases, right? So totally we have Vim, CD, DAS. Also, 8 red flags. The 8 red flags in the patient, we will not treat, or we will treat with precautions. Remember, we will treat with, either we will not treat or we will treat with precautions. So, what is this hypothetical clinical reasoning? All this clinical reasoning are telling is when, where, what, how, why, who. Basically, it is answering these questions, right? Let us go to the next one. In this slide, there is a patient, is an ONE patient. Somebody asked whether what you will see in the knee X-ray. I will not see anything in this X-ray, but I've taken this slide to show you that. Actually, it is a wear and tear of articular. ONE is nothing but a wear and tear of articular cartilage. When it is a wear and tear of this articular cartilage, it is aneural and avascular, and also it cannot be seen in X-ray. First, you must remember that. So, wear and tear of cartilage cannot be seen in X-ray, right? So that is very important. You can see only in an MRI or a CT scan. So usually, wear and tear of an articular cartilage. Now, if you want to do what is the reason for wear and tear of an articular cartilage? The cause of wear and tear is loading, unloading. What is loading, unloading? During the day, we are standing and doing our job, or sitting and doing our job. Joint is getting compressed, right? The surface of compression, here you can see the surface of compression. This compressed surface, the cartilage, synovial fluid inside the cartilage, from the inside the cartilage will come outside, and it will become like a rubber without any fluid. And what will happen? Minor tears, fibrillations, all things will happen. At the end of the day, you can find that the cartilage is worn out a little bit, right? But by the night, when you are sleeping, when you are unloading, what will happen? The joint is separate, and all the synovium will come inside, and it will fill the cartilage. So what is happening in our part of the day is there is 16 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep. In 16 hours of work and 8 hours of sleep, we have 16 hours of loading and 8 hours of unloading. And during the 8 hours of unloading, all the physical repairs that has happened to the body occurs. And therefore, next day we are refreshed and we become a new person. And to be more fascinating, if I want to tell something very, very curious to you, is that in 60 days, all the cells of our body are replenished. Eye becomes a new eye, liver becomes a new liver. But why the disease stays? The factor is we lay down, or we stress down, or we load down more in that particular area for a longer period of time. That is why what will happen? There will be a wear and tear. Loading, when it is becoming more than unloading, wear and tear starts occurring. If loading becomes more than unloading means wear and tear occurs, means where is the wear and tear? articular cartilage. Articular cartilage complete கிழிஞ்சு போச்சுன்னா என்ன ஆகும்? Bone exposed ஆகும். Once bone is exposed, what happens? It starts getting eroded. So by the time when you see the X-ray is already the second stage or in the third stage. The bone is getting reduced, reduced joint space already on second phase, third phase போயிட்டான். அந்த சமயத்துல நீங்க வந்து நான் சொன்ன டெக்னிக் கொடுத்து taping technique கொடுத்து ஒன்றும் பிரயோஜனம் இருக்கு. பட் when you are in the first stage, it is very, or in the mid of the second stage, before the wear and tear of the bone, right? If you are able to catch up the patient, then you know where is the loading. Now I am asking an open question. You know this person is overloading on one side and he is unloading on the other side. நம்ம எல்லாருமே காமனா என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? மீடியல் சைட்ல ஓவர்லோட் பண்ணுவோம். அதனால மீடியல் காண்டைல்ல பெயின் வரும். So what happens? What we must do for this? Here, overloading on the medial side of the tibiofemoral condyle. Lateral side load பண்ணல. So what we should do for this patient? That is the way we stand. I tell you a secret. Why it is getting loaded on the medial side? That is also there. Right? I tell you. Now what we must do? Clinical reasoning. We very well know there is loading here. As a physiotherapist, we must try to unload. The cause of pain, the cause of deformity, everything is because the patient is not loading the joint properly. இந்த இடத்த unload பண்ணணும். The unload பண்றதுக்கு தான் the taking அப்படியே we are trying to rotate and tape. Or we try to put a wedge in the footwear. Right? We put a lateral wedge so that the lateral side will get compressed, medial side will get released. So whenever there is a loading, இது பார்க்காம இது நம்ம இதை யோசிக்காம we are trying to treat the symptom, that is the pain, swelling, quadriceps muscle, hamstrings. இதுல வேற ரிசர்ச் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Whether the quadriceps, if you give exercise more, OLE will improve, or the hamstrings. It is not related to the muscle, it is related to the loading factor. You must construct on your focus on loading and you must try to unload. Now, everybody will be fascinated. Sir, why it is getting loaded? Unless I straight than the main cause of loading starts from your abdomen. It is called as iliopsoas paradox. அப்படின்னாக்கா என்ன அர்த்தம்னாக்கா the abdomen lax ஆக for example like my abdomen, if it is there, what will happen is that backside the gluteus maximus will get weakened. The iliopsoas will become rigid. Once the iliopsoas becomes rigid, tightened, it will start pulling the fascia lata. Once it starts pulling the fascia lata, it will start pulling the knee joint into genu varum or something, or genu valgum, whatever it is. And like this, sequentially, due to differential muscle pulling, not equivocally balanced muscle pull will create a joint problem. So, ஒரு நீல ப்ராப்ளம்னா எங்க பார்க்கணும்? Weakness in the abdomen, right? So similarly, if there is a flat foot, the same thing can happen. There can be overloading in the medial joint. So it can be as a result of, or a flat foot can be as a result that is coming from abdomen also. That also can be seen. Vice versa also can be seen. So you have to not only treat the knee joint by unloading, but also see that you tighten the abdominal structures, relax the iliopsoas, relax the IT band, and also see that he is having no flat foot. There is a good medial arch. I'm not saying medial arch support. Nalla arch irukkum. Arch illa அப்படினா arch support. அது வந்து lateral compressionக்கு, medial compressionக்கு lateral arch கொடுக்கும். Right? So that is how we plan. This is called as iliopsoas paradox. 90% of our lower limb problem starts from our trunk and not from the lower limb itself. The first thing, loading problem. நம்ம ப்ராப்பரா லோடிங் பண்றது இல்ல, ஓவர்லோட் பண்றோம். Second thing is there is the overload comes because of improper muscle pulls and angles, right, which is coming from abdomen or even higher regions. இதுக்கு ஒரு சின்ன டெஸ்ட் இருக்கு, வெரி பியூட்டிஃபுல் டெஸ்ட். It is called as you stretch your arms in the front and you sit, right? I mean you squat. It is called as I don't remember the name of the test, but the test is stretch your arm, keep your head straight, and try to squat. When you try to squat, automatically, according to the muscles which are tight, the arms will go up or down, and you can easily find out which are the muscles are tight. It is called as quick squat test, arm reach quick squat test. If you find out from your web, arm reach quick squat test, it is in NACM website. If you see it in that website, with that help, you can find out which muscle in your body is tight, which muscle in your body is lax. Accordingly, you can strengthen the relaxed muscle, and you can strengthen your, loosen your, or you can relax your, tighten the muscle. This will prevent the deformities. It is not clinical reasoning. Clinical reasoning is not to debate on and I'll be grading the joint, I'll be doing manipulation, something like that. But this is what clinical reasoning tells you. So next is a back pain. When you take a patient with back pain, I'm giving you examples in the beginning so that you can understand more. Right? How we should look beyond. We might know that the structure. The back pain may be due to urination. It may be a radicular pain, sciatica, etc., etc. But what does this back pain do? Number we saw the before the pain. What will be the causes? Post back pain, we are going to now see what will be the sequelae. What will happen? The patient loses all these, both the muscles of rectus abdominis, transverse abdominis, and iliopsoas. And the two muscles weak. Yeah, he has not used that muscles for more than 15 days, 20 days because of bad muscles. So useful enna po adukum back to enna sambandham. நம்ம ஒரு weight lift பண்ணும்போது என்ன பண்ணுவாரு? He will try to tie a tight band. Have you all seen that, man? During sports and all, they'll try to tie a tight band. That tight band is physiologically present inside our body with iliopsoas and not iliopsoas. It is anybody can help me? Transverse abdominis and it is a very small muscle. And spina erecta and multifidus, correct. Multifidus and transverse abdominis. These are two muscles which works co-contracts 1/10 of the fraction before. When we start we are going to start this movement. Before starting the movement, right, 1/10 of the fractions before even starting the movement, it starts functioning. It acts like a belt. This is naturally inbuilt in our but back pain on that act panam. That is how cricket player Balaji went out of the war of the Indian team. The reasons are South Indian. other politics. So he was never able to recruit the transverse abdominis back because he had a lot of back surgeries. So that is very, very important. So you have to see that because of the patient suffering from this illness, he might have certain problems in the future. அதுவும் prevent பண்ணணும். பின்னாடியும் பார்க்கணும், afterwardsம் பார்க்கணும். Then only the patient will not be coming back once again and again to you. Sir, once again and again வந்தா லாபம் தானே, நஷ்டம் இல்லையே. அந்த பேஷண்ட் மட்டும் தான் திருப்பி வருவோம். Whereas when you treat the patient as a whole and complete, and the patient doesn't have the problem at all, he will send 10 other patients. So that is the magic of this clinical reasoning. So what I was about to tell with these two examples is, you have to see in this knee, you have to see above, below. So you have to see the pre-existing weaknesses of that particular person's tightness and weaknesses, and then treat that also along with the knee. The knee வந்து ஃபேக்டர் வந்து லோடிங் ஃபேக்டர், லோடிங்கை எப்படி அவாய்ட் அதான் மெயின். அதுக்கு பெஸ்ட் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு லோடிங் அவாய்ட் பண்றது வெட்ஜிங் கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. வெட்ஜிங் போட்டெல்லாம் நான் நடந்து பார்த்துருக்கேன், என்னால சுத்தமா நடக்கவே முடியும். இட்ஸ் வெரி வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட் டு வாக் வித் வெட்ஜ் சப்போர்ட். ஃபார் மீ வெரி பெஸ்ட் வாஸ் டேப்பிங் மெத்தட், ரைட்? ஸோ சி ஃப்ரம் த ஃபுட் ஆல்சோ, பட் இட் இஸ் வெரி ஈஸி இஃப் யூ ஃப்ரம் த ஃபுட் யூ கேன் ஈஸிலி சால்வ் த ப்ராப்ளம், ரைட்? ஸோ ஃபுட்டை வந்து ப்ராப்பராக நடக்க, if you ask the patient to slightly invert and make the patient walk on the lateral border of the foot, right, there will be medial loading. If you make the patient walk on the medial border of the foot, there will be lateral loading, and like this you can easily make the patient to walk and relieve the loading factor and cause healing and of the articular cartilage, provided கொஞ்சம் articular cartilage அங்க இருக்கணும். அதுதான், that is what is very very important that we have to realize. So in the other slide we saw that post, what will happen to you when you don't see the post sequel, that is also very important. And also we must see the home program, what will happen, treat that also and send the patient. That is very important. And then now we are going to actually the clinical reasoning aspect. In hypothetical deductive reasoning, what happens is we first go into the body chart, mark down the red flags, green flags, yellow flags, all these things. Now we know what is the point of treatment. We know it is cervical. So now we are going to take the cervical as an example and treat the patient. Then we will ask subjective questions. What are subjective questions? Where is the pain? What is the type of the pain? What is the character of the pain? What is the nature of the pain? These are the questions you will ask. You will tell. With these questions, what will you mark? The severity of the severity of the symptom. So, if the patient is less severe, say my pain rating scale is less than 4, then it is very ideal for me to take for further assessment. Otherwise, my pain rating scale is more than 6 or 7, I may stop assessment at subjective level, treat the patient for 3 days, and then only further assess the patient. So, you only give treatment as a palliative treatment. You don't give it as you give it as a provocative treatment, not as a confirmed treatment. So, you still do not know the structure. So, at the end of the subjective assessment, you do an objective screening. Detailed patient உட்கார்ந்து ஸ்கிரீன் பண்ணி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்கணும். Questions, நிறைய questions கேட்கணும். Not leading questions, but questions which can make the patient answer X, Y, Z, etc. I was a model. I was a student, and I am the physiotherapist. And the Australian was a lady was the I think Roberta. She was the examiner for me. So she asked. She was a patient, and I was supposed to ask questions. She said she had a complaint of backache, and she showed me a case sheet which did not have any information. Of course, I did a body charting, and then I saw for some red flag, yellow flags, and I did a subjective assessment and found out the what do you call the character, irritability, and all. She was okay for going in further examination. I started her asking objective screening question, which includes detailed history. அந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டுக்கிட்டே இருக்கும்போது கிட்டத்தட்ட 10 நிமிஷம் கழிச்சு ஐ ஆஸ்க் சடன்லி ஃப்ரம் சம்வேர், டிட் யூ ஹேவ் எனி ஆபரேஷன்ஸ் ப்ரீவியஸ்லி? And that lady said, Venkatesh, now we are coming to the point. Yes, I have. So now what was the operation? What operation was done, madam? What happened? I had an hernia, inguinal hernia. They repaired it 2 years before, and after that I had been having this a very weak cough, and on and off I have this back pain. Then she straight away went off. Oh, Venkatesh, tell me, how will you relate my hernia to this back pain? Right? That's very interesting. So the reason is multifidus and transverse abdominis had gone that day itself. The day she had gone with a inguinal hernia operation itself, multifidus transverse abdominis recruitment had gone, and therefore back was not protected. She was getting on and off the back pain. So the ultimate cure for the patient may be temporarily to relieve the back pain by means of pain relieving modalities, manipulation methods, etc., etc. But ultimate treatment will be to recruit back the core muscles. And I was very honored by Roberta Shepard, because I came up to the point after 10 minutes. It seems even after 1 hour, they don't come to this point. So this would be the cause. So this is how we should go about in clinical reasoning, and therefore we have found out the exact cause. We can go about now in treating. So now, if the body chart, for example, if a patient said that I have pain in the neck and it is radiating over the arm, now this is what is the case we are going to take today for our example of our sample, and we are going to deal about it. And another half an hour we will be in and out of this cervical. Before that, shall we see one song just for relaxing?
So once again,
Yes.
sorry for interrupting, sir. The session would expire another half an hour's time, sir, because this session is sponsored by Makers Tribe for us. So we have scheduled it for 2 hours, sir. That's for your information, sir.
Okay, then it will go ahead.
12:06 o'clock.
So you're able to see this slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let us take an example of cervical pain. Commonly, we take cervical pain. Now we have to first understand the differences between what is cervical spondylosis, facet joint degeneration, facet capsule impingement, nerve root radicular pain, disc herniation, all these things. Out of all these 9 conditions, we'll take around 5 so that it will be easy for us to describe. The musculoskeletal red flags are spinal fracture, ligamentous instability, especially the alar and transverse ligament, rheumatoid arthritis, congenital anomaly. In the neck, these 4 are the musculoskeletal red flags. Other than there are the MCD DAS is the general red flag. Now, what is cervical spondylosis? The definition says that it is a primary complaint which is a complaint of pain in the neck, possibly radiating to the scapular area. நமக்கு கையில ரேடியேட் ஆகிறதெல்லாம் cervical spondylosis நம்ம சொல்றோம். தப்பு. That which radiates only up to the scapular area or up to the deltoid is called as cervical spondylitis. They have difficulty in moving the neck freely, a sensation of tightness of cervical muscle. That is, the neck is very tight. Occupations may include prolonged use of desk work, computer work, phone, etc., etc. Very prominent feature is they have pain in the upper trapezius, levator scapula, sternocleidomastoid, scaeniae. The very prominent feature is there will be a lot of what do you call it as trigger points in this area. Any cervical spondylitis will release have a lot of trigger points in these muscles over these muscles. The reflexes will be intact sensation in the upper limb. According to the dermatome, muscle strength will be normal, right? And there will be no positive upper limb nervous tension test. That means the patient is having only radiating pain up to the scapula. Neck movement limitation irukum, restriction irukum, and they will have their trigger points over this trapezius. This is only called as cervical spondylosis. Disc herniation, sometimes this is called as radicular pain. If it is herniates outside, it is radiculopathy. If it herniates inside the canal, it is myelopathy. They have forward head posture. Very specifically saying, the reflexes are diminished. The muscle strength is also diminished. There will be positive upper limb nerve tension test, and Valsalva maneuver will be positive. During Valsalva maneuver, pain will be there. Cervical myelopathy. The difference between cervical myelopathy is here the disc is herniated outside. It is irritating peripheral nerve injury. When it is myelopathy, it is disc is herniating inside, and it is touching the spinal cord. So the reflexes are exaggerated. Difference between radiculopathy and myelopathy is the reflexes is exaggerated, and they might have a Babinski sign positive, and there may be a loss of balance, involuntary movement of extremities. Positive upper limb tension test will be there. Other tests will be. Whiplash injuries always coincides with neck pain, radiating pain, weaknesses, but there will be also sleep disturbances, headache, fatigue, dizziness, vision problem, ringing, poor concentration, ringing in the ears, etc. Thoracic outlet syndrome, C8P1. This is the root of involvement, sensation as well as muscle weakness. And there will be also some muscle pathologies, can be very commonly levator scapula or trapezius, commonly relieved by trigger points, relief, etc. So these are some of the muscles. Now, the common reflexes that are tested are biceps brachioradialis and triceps. And these are the dermatomes, vertex, lateral neck, shawl, or lateral arm, posterior thumb, like that. We see for the dermatomes, myotomes, weakness of the core muscles, especially the longest colli capitis lower trapezius. How do you see for the weakness of the core musculature? Ask the patient to lay down and just ask him to lift his neck along, neck and head for just 15 degrees and maintain it for 15 seconds. He will not be able to maintain. அதுதான் இப்போ எல்லாரும் வந்து ஒரு ட்ரீட்மெண்ட்டா கொடுத்து ஒரு ப்ரெஷர் பிளட் ப்ரெஷர் அப்பாரட்டஸ் வச்சு கையில மயனோமீட்டர் கொடுத்து 15 டிகிரி அப்படி ரைஸ் பண்ணி அதை அப்படி பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு it seems they are training the longest colli and capitis and lower trapezius. That is the only thing they are doing. Very often I am seeing that as a project work done. So all these things is very important. All these previous assessment is important, but very important is whatever may be, whether it is a musculoskeletal problem, do not ignore. Please do active range of motion and passive range of motion. Right? Manual muscle testing is must. You must do a full manual muscle testing. நெக்குனா அப்பர் லிம் ஃபுல்லா பண்ணணும், பேக்னா லோவர் லிம் ஃபுல்லா பண்ணணும். அதே மாதிரி சென்சேஷன் டெர்மட்டோம் பை டெர்மட்டோம் செக் பண்ணணும். இது மேண்டேட்டரி ப்ரோட்டோகால். வாட் எவர் இட் மே பி த பேட்டர்ன் யூ ரெகக்னைஸ், these two you must not forget. So this is the, once again they are telling what is the movements which are possible. I'm going fast because I did not do on the examination process. நம்ம சப்ஜெக்டிவ் எக்ஸாமினேஷன் பண்ணும்போது கிடைச்ச க்ளூ வச்சு we must do objective examination. அப்ஜெக்டிவ் எக்ஸாமினேஷன்ல நம்ம சப்ஜெக்டிவ் எக்ஸாமினேஷன்லயே நமக்கு கிடைச்சாச்சு. என்ன க்ளூ கிடைச்சது? acromioclavicular, bicipital tendinitis, supraspinatus tendinitis, இல்லாட்டி capsular tics, இதுதான் இருக்கும். நமக்கு க்ளூ கிடைச்சாச்சு நமக்கு சப்ஜெக்டிவ்லயே. அப்புறம் இதுக்கு இதெல்லாம் பண்ணணும். This is mandate. Whatever we are doing up to now is a mandatory protocol to be done for all musculoskeletal condition, in spite of the target issue. Maybe there might be, like na sonna illiya, weakness may be there previously or it may develop later. Adanala you must do the testing for range of motion and muscle testing as far as possible. And also you must do MMT, and also you must do soft tissue palpation. These are all mandatory tests you must do. Right, all the muscles of the back, right, everything you must palpate for trigger points, etc. Namakku choice edhula irukuna only in doing this special test. So when we know it is supraspinatus muscle, I'll be doing only one test. What is that test? நம்ம உலகத்துல இருக்கிற அத்தனை பேரும் ஒன்னு சொல்லுவோம், empty can test, right? So they'll do an empty can test. So why do I do all the tests and waste the time? I know that this is, so if that is positive, I can rule in and tell that the patient is having a positive supraspinatus tendinitis. இல்ல எனக்கு முன்னாடி மாதிரி 4 டவுட் இருக்கு. supraspinatus, bicipital tendinitis, acromioclavicular, anterior capsule. அப்படின்னாக்க நான் என்ன பண்ணணும்? 4 டெஸ்ட் பண்ணணும். Bicipital tendinitis, speed test, and then you have what other thing? Adhesive capsulitis, stretching, and also acromioclavicular. You have just test. All these tests has to be done in order to verify which is positive, which is negative. Out of the 4, one is positive. Then we find out that is the target issue. And the target issue, if it is, for example, supraspinatus, we must find out what is the evidence, and we must start treating the patient with evidence-based practice. Now, these are the various tests, right? This PowerPoint is going to be with you, so you can do the test and find out. This is the distraction test. This is the compression test. So Valsalva maneuver. This is the swallowing cough test. Adson's test for blood flow. Sperling's test, turning and then seeing onto the other side. Hand grip test, and then sensory dermatome test, myotome test, reflexes. Right, all these things are being tested. Upper limb tension testing is being tested. Now, இதெல்லாம் பண்ண பிறகு I found out in my subjective analysis that this patient is having a radicular radiating pain. I had only diminished reflexes and therefore and weakened muscles. What will I rule in? இதெல்லாம் பண்ண இந்த டெஸ்ட் எல்லாம் பண்ண பிறகு I found out radiating pain, diminished reflexes. That means the patient is having radiculopathy, cervical radiculopathy. Here, the cervical radiculopathy, right? Now you have to. This is. If you want to confirm that it is cervical radiculopathy, there is something called as a prediction rule. It is called as the venous cluster. அவங்க டிஃபைன் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க. ராடிகுலோபதிக்கு ரூலிங் பண்ணோம்னா இந்த 4 டெஸ்ட் பண்ணணும். Sperling test, distraction test, ipsilateral rotation, positive ULT. So this venous cluster, when you do, if the patient is positive 3 out of 4, you are ruling into cervical radiculopathy. And when you are ruling into radiculopathy, the treatment is centralization, mobilization, and conditioning. See, they are very clever. They never told what is the treatment modality. The evidence of treatment is they have told that now I have ruled into radiculopathy. Myelopathy என்ன இருந்திருக்கும்? Patient would have what? We'll have increased reflexes, and therefore the management will vary. Whereas here, the management is centralization, means the pain should from peripheral it should centralize. Whatever you want to do for centralization, you should do. Centralization or distraction, mobilization, conditioning. You can see nowadays evidences are not. Somebody asked me IFT best, traction best, ultrasound best. முன்னாடி அப்படிதான் நம்ம நினைச்சிட்டு இருந்தோம். பட் இப்போ வந்து பிரின்சிபல் ஆஃப் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் தான் கரெக்ட். ஸோ இந்த பிரின்சிபலுக்கு இந்த பேஷண்ட்டுக்கு ரேடிகுலோபதி இருந்ததுனால் ஐ மஸ்ட் டூ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டிஸ்ட்ராக்ஷன். பேஷண்ட் கை பையிலேருந்து நெக்குக்கு வரணும், அப்புறம் போயிடணும். Then I should mobilize the neck and I should also do small muscles of the neck exercises, strengthening exercises. So I must do this. They are told very clearly how they will do, how you will do. They are not told. That is your methodology. So traction, the old methodology which we did in Kekanagar, in sitting posture is best for distraction. Illati manual distraction in supine lying is best, not the present way of giving traction in traction method. Mobilization, of course, you know that you have to give mobilization, neck movements in a proper manner, in a proper direction, in a tucked in posture. Conditioning is the neck, small muscles of flexors, every condition பண்ணனும். Supine lying, the patient should have a blood pressure apparatus on the band should be there on the back. He should inflate it. He should inflate it a little bit. The patient should try to maintain at 15 angle of 15 degrees. And bread manometer 10 to 15 degrees காமிக்கணும். அதுல மெயின்டைன் பண்ணணும். அப்படியே மெயின்டைன் பண்ணி ஒரு 15 seconds to 30 seconds he should maintain. So that is how the conditioning of the small flexors will work. Or he must do a long time conditioning by tuck-in posture. A tuck-in posture conditioning பண்ணாம நீங்க வந்து distraction இன்னொரு மெத்தட் கூட இருக்கு. Previously we were telling giving discard cervical collar. Cervical collar கொடுத்தாலே நம்ம நெகட்டிவா பேசுவோம். It is not very good அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. It will be spoil your muscles of the neck, posture போயிடும். But when you wear the cervical collar as a treatment, right, for 20 to 30 minutes a day, right, it will stretch and put you in your tuck-in posture and you will find it better, right? And that itself is a good treatment. So simple method of what you call centralization, maybe giving twice a day, half an hour of cervical. என்னால இது மாதிரி மெயின்டைன் பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு அப்படின்னு யாரும் சொன்னாங்க, right? So like that you can design your own. They give only principles as evidences and நீங்க தான் you have to create your own evidences based on your experiences. அதே மாதிரி இந்த clusters of test prediction rules, they are formed for sacroiliac dysfunction, they are formed for hip osteoarthritis, they are formed for shoulder impingement, they are formed for carpal tunnel syndrome. So ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி எல்லா கண்டிஷனுக்கும் அவங்க ப்ரெடிக்ஷன் ரூல்ஸ் ஃபார்ம் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க. ஸோ நீங்க டயக்னோஸ் பண்ணி இது கார்பல் டனல் சிண்ட்ரோம் தான் அப்படின்னு டயக்னோஸ் பண்றதுக்கு இந்த 4 டெஸ்ட் பண்ணணும். ரிஸ்க் ரேஷியோ இண்டெக்ஸ் should be greater than 0.67. Flicks maneuver, handshake. Shaking hands should be positive. Pain will be increased. Symptom severity scale, அது வந்து 19, more than 19. Diminished sensation over median nerve. Age greater than 45. இதுல 3 out of 5 will rule into carpal tunnel syndrome. The carpal tunnel syndrome-க்கு அவங்க சொன்ன ஒரே ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் mobilization. So how will you do this mobilization? It's left up to you. Either you do HC injection and then take up for mobilization injection, or you straight away take in for a mobilization and then see whether it aggravates, and then go in for a doctor's opinion or secondary opinion, etc. It's left upon you. So they've gone one step behind. Target tissue கண்டுபிடிச்சா மட்டும் போராது, டார்கெட் டிஷ்யூக்கு தான் ப்ரூவ் பண்றதுக்கு இந்த ப்ரெடிக்ஷன் டெஸ்ட் பண்ணி ரூல் இன் பண்ணும். Then if you are correct, then for every target issue they have formed out what is the principle of treatment, and the principle is let free. உங்க இஷ்டத்துக்கு நீங்க அந்த பிரின்சிபலை யூஸ் பண்ணி எப்படி வேணா ட்ரீட். யாராவது அதுக்கு என்ன எவிடன்ஸ்னு கேட்டாங்கன்னா இது வரைக்கும் பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணேன்னு தைரியமா சொல்லணும். ஏன்னா பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணல, அதுதான் உண்மை. So that is what is the truth, right? So this is what is my reasoning today. Any questions before we wind up? 2 minutes or 3 minutes are there? Yeah, 5 minutes are there. Mohan, you can ask for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Like there is no question in the chat box, sir. Like the members can post their questions. The session is open for discussion.
I was a little bit faster. It's no problem. The clinical reasoning with Mark, Jones, and Hicks ends up with finding out target tissue. Now we have ended up in prediction rules. We use sensitive tests to prove that is the target tissue, and treat according to principles and not according to whatever single evidences. கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். இந்த point will be always available with you. You can go once again and again and see, and you can understand. It's very easy. So this is how. But that WIM-CT does, you remember, right? Vascular inflammatory malignancy, congenital deformity, drug-induced, and it is systemic diseases and autoimmune diseases. That is the red flags. Yellow flag is vulnerable. Green flag is psychologically they are affected. Psychiatrically. Anybody can chat for 5 minutes.